Welcome, welcome. Can you guys hear me? Is everything going all right? Welcome to the Pat Grace Real Estate Show. This is where I open up my 25 years of Kansas City network, show you exactly how we built this monthly passive income portfolio and $60 million real estate portfolio right here in Kansas City. Every episode, I bring you some real people, some real operators, contractors, lenders, the deal makers. We're bringing everybody on this show, and the same people that I've used to build multiple streams of income, passive income, and the machine that keeps producing, whether the markets are hot or cold. Today's episode is a treat. It's all about renovations and rehab, and it's the part of real estate where fortunes are made and the newbies get smoked. So load up the comments, ask questions, stay interactive, because we're breaking down real deals with real numbers, real budgets, and formulas that I use to underwrite renovations the right way. You'll get a live snapshot of the Kansas City real estate market, current rental status, and what's happening on the ground right now here in Kansas City. Today, I'm excited. We've got two guests. And these operators do a volume of a small army. No gurus, no theory, just players who execute week after week, renovating homes, managing crews, controlling budgets, turning distressed properties into cash flowing assets, and making tons of money. We're diving into how to scope a rehab without getting burnt, how to spot hidden structural killers before they wreck your deal, contractor red flags, budgeting, timelines, systems, tools, and renovation mistakes every new investor makes. By the end, you'll walk away with a renovation playbook you can copy tomorrow, whether you're in Kansas City or anywhere else in the country. Let's talk about the market here in Kansas City. Let's take a look at that. And right now, in Kansas City, I've got the October MLS statistics up right now, and looks like we've got pretty good sales. We've got more homes are closing. If you look at October from 2024 to 2025, there looks like about another 1,100 homes sold from this time last year, which is awesome. So you've got 3% change in that, 3.5%. The price of the homes have actually went up almost 7%. So the homes are selling for more. There's more sales and there's more homes, which is great news. Days on market is about the same, maybe went up one day. Looks like it's up about 2%. And 97.7% percentage of original list price is being received. So pending sales looks like we have 32,749 compared to 32,183. So that's a 1% uptick. What I didn't like was the fact they didn't put inventory and supply, which in October it was up almost 10%. So there's definitely more inventory and more supply right now, in the market. More houses are sitting there, and I'd like to get you guys feedback and kind of say some things in the chat if you got a lot of properties or if you are selling homes. I know for me, my properties are sitting a lot longer, not getting offers, and so I'm kind of feeling that right now. I think we're kind of in the middle of something, and we're going to look back at a couple months and be like, oh man, something's going on right now. I can kind of feel it. Let's take a look at the rentals, and I'll explain a little bit more what I'm talking about. But right now, the Clay County median rent for this month's about $1,800. That's down. And so rent range is about $1,400 to $2,800. The two bedrooms are renting from $1,150 to $1,600 a month. 3 beds and plus are going from $1,800 to $2,300 a month. We got a 2.5% vacancy rate and about a 3% year-over-year growth, kind of stagnant there. Liberty has a lot of properties for rent. I think I looked on Zillow Rents, it was like 84 homes for Liberty. So the takeaway here is you got, you know, maybe flat, I think, rent growth right now. We got low vacancy, strong value add potential in the mid to tier neighborhoods. In Jackson County, we're looking at about $1,565 a month in rent on average. The rent range look like it's going from about $1,350 to $2,500 a month. 2 bedrooms about $1,300, 3 bedrooms about $1,500, vacancy about 3%, year over year growth about 3%. Your premium areas like Lee Summit, Blue Springs, those areas might be getting more like $1,800 to $2,000 a month. But even those areas, if you look on Zillow Rentals, there's a lot of product out there for rent, and prices are actually dropping. So, you know, given the overall market, you know, at $1,387 a month in rent on that, and you know, a drop of about 12 to 20 bucks, you should underwrite with caution right now. I would assume flat to modest rent growth rather than being aggressive on the upside. I'm not feeling that in my rentals right now. We have a lot of property that haven't rented, and we're continuing to drop prices. And you know, it's tough right now to market out there. And so I'm feeling this in the rent side. Put some comments in the chat. You guys can let me know what you guys are thinking, what you guys are feeling, what you guys are experiencing there. I just feel that the rents are taking a longer time to rent, and the renting for less money than I was renting for earlier in this year. And that might be because of winter. Usually rents drop a little bit and the market gets slow right around December with Christmas and that kind of stuff. So we'll see what happens. I recommend you guys start your underwriting model with base rents per bedroom on the house only. I would do growth assumptions at maybe 2 to 3% max. I used to underwrite at 5 to 8, maybe 10, and I'm not doing that anymore. So be smart out there and be cautious. We don't know what's going to happen. One thing we did roll out that's exciting is our mentorship program is now live. Geraldine and Annie, if you guys could throw that QR code in the chat so people have access to it. This is awesome. So this is a mentorship program. It's really good for the new investor. I made it really cheap. It's all online. It's self-paced. You can go as you want. It's only $250 for the first 100 people. After that, we're going to raise the price, but it's really good. It's really detailed. There's quizzes. You know, when you get done with this mentorship, you'll have a vision. You'll have a market. You'll have clear guidelines on what to do. You'll identify if you're going to flip, if you're going to buy and hold. There's so much stuff that are in here when it comes to construction, rehab, property management, all kinds of stuff in here. So there's like, I think there's 16 different modules, and it's a good amount of time to go through everything. You can take your time, and then we might be rolling out some group coaching or something here in the near future. But for now, we have this up. Take a screenshot, put this QR code in. It's only $250. That's the price of a steak and some drinks. And if you know anybody who's interested in getting started, it also comes with a closed Facebook group that I will be running. My staff will be running. We'll be answering questions in there, and we'll be dropping all kinds of stuff in there when it comes to formulas, underwrites, properties. So we'll have a bunch of stuff going on in this closed Facebook group that you'll have access to. So you guys can go ahead and check that out. Also sponsoring the show is United Real Estate, 100% commission. If you know any agents not making 100%, they're not making any money. They need education. They need leads. They need good teams. They need good brokers. We got you covered with United Real Estate. You can go ahead and call Marta, my wife, she's running this agency for, man, maybe 8 to 10 years now. And, we've got about almost 400 agents. So there's a lot of people jumping ship and jumping over and coming over to United. So check that out. One of my best underwriting tools is Real Buy Box. You can check this QR code. This is really good for people who are starting off, who need after repair value, who need comps, who need one place to have their documents, their contracts, their customers. It's like a CRM and an underwrite and a contract housing for everything in one spot. And so this is really good for the new investor, for any investor. I use it a lot. You can also skip trace through the site. There's just a lot of things you can do. It's great for wholesalers. If you're starting a wholesale business, this is definitely something you want to check out. You can put in your address. It pulls in all the data, all the info, all the tax records, everything you're gonna need. What I like about it is the after repair value mechanism that's in there. It's pretty accurate, and I think that's the holy grail, the most important part of the number. So before you get to rehab, and before you get to doing scopes, and before you get to tonight's what we're going to be talking about tonight, you got to have some sort of underwrite and something going on before you start getting into these homes. And Real Buy Box can help you out with with that situation. So check it out. Become a member. It's free for I think 30 days or 60 days, and you can go from there. Let me introduce our guests. We're rolling in straight from the heart of Kansas City. And before we dive into today's renovation, it's time to bring in some people who actually live this stuff every day. The blogs complain, the investors panic, newbies say renovations are impossible, contractors disappear, every rehab goes over budget. But while everybody is busy making excuses, I've got two hammers on the show today. Operators who are out there proving the opposite. Project after project, week after week. This isn't theory. This isn't guru talk. These are people who walk the job sites at sunrise, manage the crews without losing their mind, keep budgets from blowing up, turns rough properties into real assets faster than most people can schedule a home inspection. They're spotting issues before they come disasters, running systems that keep renovations profitable, turning problem houses into cash flow machines like it's just another Tuesday. Today, they're here to break down exactly how they do it, from scoping the rehab the right way, to catching the hidden stuff that rookies always miss, to building the process and keeping timelines tight, money on track. Buckle up, because what you're about to hear, how these operators run renovations, you'll never look at rehab the same way. Let's bring on today's guests and get the real renovation behind this success. We've got Jason Walker. He started doing new homes actually in 2008. This guy's a big builder. He does so much nice stuff. And he remodels. He does about 60 new homes a year, and then he does about 60 rehabs. He's got a big rental portfolio, about 130 homes. He builds in 16 developments, from the Lake of the Ozarks to Kansas City. 2 current projects in the works right now. And so
did we lose him?
2001, 2002. Jim, a mentor of mine, he helped me out a lot when I was getting started and I was 21, 22, 23. I ran into Jimmy and he had like 250, 300 homes at that time. And he was just, he's well-versed in the real estate game, owns a lot of properties, does a lot of projects, and knows everyone in Kansas City, which is important. His network is great. Is Jimmy on? Is Jimmy on? Did you guys get him in? Awesome.
Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep, gotcha.
I hear you fine, Pat.
Awesome. It's good to see you guys. How are you guys doing?
Good.
You guys looking good? Good?
Ready to roll.
Awesome. Hey, well, today's show, check this out. Here's what we're going to talk about today. I've got a couple segments lined up that's going to take our audience. We're going to kind of start off with the origin of where you guys are from, what you guys have done. You can kind of, humanize yourself a little bit, and what your mindset is when we talk about construction and rehab. We'll talk about pre-rehab, game planning. We're going to look at the homes before we buy them, kind of what we think and how we walk through them, inspections and estimating, scoping and budgeting, underwriting, contractors, crews and systems, lessons and expert advice. We'll have a little rapid fire section at the end. I'll kind of go through and kind of let you guys know kind of what I do. And then I want you guys to tell us what you do and how you guys do it. And I'll have some questions for you guys. Does that all sound good to you guys?
Sure.
Sounds great.
All right, awesome. Let's start off with, go ahead and Jason, tell us about yourself, what you do, how you do it, and kind of brag a little bit on Jason Walker.
There you go. Well, obviously, Jason Walker in Lee Summit, Missouri. Like you said, I mean, do about, on average around 60 deals a year on the rehab side. New construction side, around 60 to 70 deals a year. Build in multiple areas throughout Kansas City as well as Lake of the Ozarks. And then as well as, hold a rental portfolio, of course, of which we've acquired, since 2001. And have a remodel company in St. Louis, of which we actually remodel directly for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So that kind of gives us a little bit of a pulse check over the last 10 years in regards to what's going on in the marketplace. And understanding, obviously, it seems like when they're getting super busy in regards to holding assets, and ultimately the overall foreclosure rate is starting to pick up. And when it's slow, it seems like it's today. Like right now, the market is a little stale. So obviously, we're struggling on the acquisition side as well as the sales side a little bit. But business is good, and have been in multiple arenas over the years, and looking forward to listening and learning a little bit tonight myself.
Awesome, brother. All right, Jimmy, what's up, man? How you been? I haven't seen you in a while.
Yes. I'm still here, Pat. I'm still out here. Still good. I've been getting it a long time, Pat, since about 2001. Oh, we met probably in about 2004, 5.
Yeah.
We were and buying and selling, and we're still doing it. And I'm doing it for myself. I'm doing it for other people. Just making it happen, man, and making them money, making myself money. And I plan on doing this till I can't do it no more. Own properties, and I just love doing what I'm doing. If I could help anybody, you got any questions?
Yep.
How to maintain these crews, how to keep them in, how to manage that money, and been doing it. So
awesome.
I'm just excited to be here tonight.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Hey, okay, so let's talk about this. So let's jump in and talk about pre-rehab, like game planning. When you show up to the house, like before you even swing a hammer. Like for me, like things that I'm looking for when I go look at a house is I'm looking for sure. First thing is foundation, and that's kind of the biggest thing for me. And then I'm looking at big ticket items: roof, electric panel, plumbing. I've been doing a lot of sewer scopes, up front because I've been getting killed on the damn broken sewer lines. And so what are some things that you guys inspect on every house, which, you know, you've probably been burned when you skip it? You got anything, Jimmy, that you look at that you're kind of checking out?
And I think you kind of hit it on the head. The first thing is those big ticket items. You know, you're looking at make sure that the value is there in the property that you're buying, but those foundations, the roof, the HVA systems and things like that, seeing what kind of shape they're in. But number one, I think, is to really kind of know your market and know where you're buying, and if those values are really realistic as to the value of that property. Yeah. And you've got the monies or the profit or the room to rehab that property. Yeah. And I've seen a lot of people buy properties and they just don't have a true assessment of what that market value is. You got to be true to yourself and know what that value is. And once you know that true value, I think you can almost start moving in a direction as to whether you can make money or not.
Yeah.
And you know what it costs to do these things. You got to have a true idea of what the cost is to repair a foundation, what the true cost is to do these HVACs, how many squares a roof, how much money do I really actually have to put into that? And then I think you can truly figure out if you're going to make money or not.
What about you, Jay? What's a red flag that you kind of look at and you're like, oh, hell no, I'm walking away? What is something that you walk into a place and you're like, man, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not buying this house.
He hit it on the head. I mean, ultimately being able to dissect the deal from the beginning and understanding what your true costs are. Obviously, we can all sit and say, I mean, anybody that's remodeled a house knows the big five will nail you every time. HVAC, plumbing, major underground. You talked about scoping. Obviously, I would say that that's burned me more times than I can imagine. Not having the ability up front to understanding what you're dealing with underground, major electrical components, stuff that's hidden behind the walls, that ultimately, especially in properties that don't have utility access, and then obviously getting utilities on and finding out that you've got, some major electrical problems associated with that property, especially my cutoff, honestly, for me personally, I've been a 1952 or 1950 and above property guy. You start getting below that, you're running into different electrical, type issues that, over time, I guess that's just like hard knocks of learning and buying and understanding problems you've had. For me, though, obviously, the front end of the deal is so important. I mean, I buy a lot of sight unseen. I mean, obviously, I've found that, the ability to understand the deal and backing into that. So for me, obviously, I don't go to every property. So knowledge and years of having issues in the acquisition side and really being able to front load, understand what your true costs are. Jimmy said that about understanding your true cost and really being able to front load, dissect the deal and backing into the big problems, looking for those big fives and ensuring that you really truly know what those cost. I mean, you can look at a house and if it's 2-story, it's a 1.5 story. It's 2,000 square foot, it's 4,000 square foot, and understanding what your costs are associated to replacing HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and running into structural problems associated to that. So, I mean, that's a long way to get to the answer, but, structuring the deal from the front and understanding how important it is to dissect those big five components in the beginning of a deal is super important.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I can kind of walk into a house now and real quick in my mind, I can define oh, this is a light rehab or this is a medium rehab.
Correct.
This is a heavy rehab. This house is going to take me 10 grand maximum, and then I can, or this house is going to take me 25 grand or this house is going to take me 50, 80,000 bucks. And so kind of defining the frequency just by doing the frequency of the scopes, knowing your crews is really important, knowing what they'll work for and really knowing the cost of material. I think is really important. Just kind of walking around Home Depot, keeping up with costs. Me and my wife do that all the time. We just walk up and down the aisles and just look at things and see kind of where things are at right now. Because the prices of stuff is going up so much.
It is.
About the basic order, Jimmy, of rehab, kind of give, for me, it's like I'm doing like, you're always doing demo first, then you got your framing or anything that has to do with framing. Then you're talking about roughing, insulation, drywall. Do you have a certain order that you go through on your rehabs?
I think you kind of hit it again, Pat. You got to clean it out and see where you're at, and start looking at if you're going to do some floor plan changing and things like that, and busting into those walls and things. And it's kind of the nuts and bolts, checking out your electrical and all that stuff. That's usually where I kind of start. But like to piggyback on you just said you and your wife go to the stores and check out the prices of things and what they cost. I think that's so important because we have to be able to, I think, to be successful in this rehab and remodeling, you have to be able to purchase at a good price. And that comes from frequenting a lot of these places and have relationships with the Home Depots, the Lowe's, the Menards. You got to create relationships so you can get good numbers. That's where you make your money. When you buy them, the material, and watch the material. Make sure your material don't grow legs. Yeah. That's what I'm doing first. I'm looking at how much material I got to buy and how much I got to manage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got fast material. They run fast.
There you go. I have them to run.
Oh, sometimes they sprint, huh?
Yeah, man.
That sounds well. When you guys, let's talk about Jay. Let's talk about the scope. So, if you're not, and we've been doing this for over 20 years, each of us, 20, 25 years. So we might be able to buy some properties and not look at it. I wouldn't recommend that for people that are new or people that are doing, 1-2 houses. Like for us, if I look at a property online and it takes me, and I think it's going to take me 20 grand and it takes me 25, but then I bought property number 2 that I thought was going to take me 40 grand and it took me 30, I'm breaking even in all my numbers. So with the volume, we can do stuff like that. When you got 1 project, 2 projects, you better know your numbers and come in. And so, Jay, if you're not looking at the homes and who does your scope and how do you do your scope? Kind of break that down for people. Do you go room by room?
Yep.
Do you have a 4 or 5 line explanation minimum? And kind of how do you just kind of tell the people how you do your scope of work?
Yeah, I mean, for us, ultimately, I have a project manager that does. Obviously, I have divided my businesses amongst new construction. Obviously, I focus a lot on the new construction side. Obviously, I rehab a lot, but putting systems in place and ultimately understanding your costs. It's easy for all of us to jive and understand and sit here. Like you just said a little bit ago, you can walk into a house and pretty much dissect it to a point to where I can walk in a home and say, oh, the house is 30 grand to remodel. Not everybody can do that. And that simply comes from the fact of our experience. But today's call is letting, what is somebody that's new to the business and how do they get to the point of understanding? When it comes to light, medium, heavy, I don't care if it's whatever that is, it's important that you actually take the time to understand your costs. Otherwise it can burn you very quick. But my scope itself is room by room, like you talked about. I think you got to understand and go room by room, and especially when doing your scopes. In my scopes, depending, we go into a medium rehab. I would probably have a 50 to 60 line item scope. Ultimately, again, room by room, associated to individual components that are going into those rooms. Obviously, with focus being on bathrooms, kitchens, etc. That obviously we know those are going to sell the properties, and then they're focusing on the flooring, etc. components, and then understanding what beyond that is. For me, I have a crew. I have an individual crew that I've worked with for 12 years of my career. So I've been very fortunate of that. And those of you that are starting new, or those of you that have been in it for long enough, when you get a good crew, it's important because they know you, they know me. And when I send my labor only bids out, ultimately from that perspective, they know what I want. My project manager runs in, takes our scope. She sends me the scope. I do the numbers, send the scope back. And then essentially my crews understand. I send my labor numbers out. and my crew then essentially has the go-to to start the job. But again, knowing your numbers, I'd say is, just simply dissecting a scope, but not only dissecting your scope, taking the time to understand what the true cost of that scope is. A lot of that comes with experience, but then the back end of that is understanding your vendors and understanding your true cost, whether that is, like you said you'd go to Home Depot and you spend time walking through the aisles. If you're for us, we can sit here and say, well, I'm going to put a $2 or a 99-cent tile in, and I can understand what it's going to take, $33,000 to do a bathroom or $7,000 to do a kitchen. Well, not everybody can go in there and nail that expense and understand at the end of the day they're going to hit that expense and their budget's going to come together. So truly understand your costs and finding your own method to do that is important.
Yeah. What how do you do yours, Jimmy? What do you do with your scope? Do you have a pre-templated scope, or is your scope different on every house, or you got like a spreadsheet or some software that you use where everything's kind of itemized for you already and you just got to kind of fill in the blanks?
No, Pat, actually, what I do is I've got kind of a floor mat of everything that I'm used to touching in a house, from the roof to the kitchen, all that's floor mat. And when I walk through that house, I'm looking to see which one of those boxes am I going to have to fill in and put a number. Yeah. And, a little experience kind of helped me with that, because I kind of know that I almost want to touch everything if I need to. But, and it's kind of a challenge for me. I kind of have a little fun with it, because those numbers I plug in there, which I think are there, I'm always trying to do those for less than what's on that paper. So that's kind of a challenge for me. But yes, to answer your question, I've got a paper, I've got a form, it's got roof, it's got gutters, it's got landscape, it's got everything. And I just go down that list as I'm walking through the house, and I'm putting to be. So
are you guys adding in photos in your scope, or you guys don't use photos in your scope?
As necessary. Sometimes I feel like I may need to take a photo to help me, maybe at some point reference back. Yes.
Are you doing when you're doing your materials? I know for me, like, maybe not for you, Jay, but like for me, I'm not a custom home builder. Like all my shit is the same. Like my colors are the same, my tiles the same, the LVP is the same, my cabinet, I have like my light fixtures. Like I know it down to the SKU number on what I'm using, the smoke detectors. Like my stuff is so cookie cutter. And I feel like when you're doing a volume play, like we kind of do, it's hard to do all this stuff custom. Like I want the same carpet, the same, and then when the tenants move out, I got this stuff already. It's not hard to match and go find all kinds of stuff. And so how's your material system? Are you doing like that, or you kind of every house is different? Jason.
You're talking to me. Okay. Again, for that scenario there, we do a lot of different price points. So, again, I obviously, the answer is we would stay consistent. But, I think we would look at, we base it on areas. So, I will tell you, I have houses in Excelsior Springs, and I have houses that I've done in, 100 miles away from one another. Money, I'll reach for money. So, those scenarios we try to stay consistent with our materials, but ultimately we'd play off the market and the person that we're remodeling for. For example, if I'm remodeling in Leawood, I would do that differently than I'm remodeling in Excelsior Springs. So, but for the most part, we would be the same as you, Pat. We would be consistent with our tile SKUs. We'd be consistent with the lights we use. Obviously, we do utilize Amazon. Honestly, we'll shop for our stuff. Smart. So with that said, we won't always go to a SKU from Home Depot for seven lights. We would go buy our plumbing supplies, and we would shop consistently from Amazon and try to save money where we can, and be cautious of the client that we're going to be the end user that we're going to be selling to.
You know what? We just started buying stuff from Amazon, especially like vanities. I noticed.
Absolutely.
Oh man, vanities are so cheap from Amazon. There's just a bunch of stuff like garbage disposals, and they'll deliver it right to the house. I never really have any problems. And so sometimes the delivery systems with Home Depot and Lowe's can get, it's kind of weird because they don't own it.
Yep.
But they, you're right, man. That Amazon is just crushing. We did a whole bunch of all our Florida rehabs we purchased from Amazon, and that's a really good point there, and a really good takeaway for people. Once you make that material list, checking the prices with Amazon. Another good site for the new people out there watching is called HomeWise. I think it's WYSE, HomeWise. And HomeWise, you can go in there and you can put in your zip code, and you can put in like 1,200 square foot of sheetrock, and it'll give you low, medium, high labor and material pricing. And so if you don't know what, sheetrock is per square foot, or what roof, a square roofing is you can go to homewise.com and plug in the zip code and plug in information, and it'll give you a high, low, medium. So what that means though is, like, if you're doing rehabs in the inner city, you might stay on the low side. If you're doing rehabs in Leawood, you might go on the medium, high side. The quality of work has to be there. And so, you can't be using the real low end guys in Leawood. They just won't do it right. And so that's another tool for the people out there. Jimmy, do you have, you know what, Jay, I didn't even think about that. You probably do a variety of stuff. Like for me, I kind of stay in this wheelhouse of maybe 150 to 150 grand, and I'm staying right in that Independence, Raytown, North Kansas City. I stay in that wheelhouse. I don't really do too many rehabs over 350,000. I don't really mess around with stuff under, 150 to 200 grand.
Easy exit strategy.
Yeah, I kind of like that exit. I like that exit strategy. I feel like the borrowers are multiple, and I like the fact that it's a dual exit strategy. Like in that $250,000 market, if I can't sell it, I can rent it.
That's important today.
I might not make a murderous killing on the rent today, but I'm at least, even if I'm cash flow neutral and the tenant's paying everything for me, and I'm taking positions in Staley Farms and in Blue Springs and in some of these neighborhoods that are in that 250, 275. I like that neighborhood. And so all my scopes are relatively the same. All my scopes are same color scheme, same flooring scheme. I'm painting a lot of the cabinets. I'm not putting in new cabinets, especially if they're going to be rentals for me. So I'm just really the same scheme there. Jimmy, let's talk about change orders. How you handle your change orders, and what do you do in that situation?
With the contractors, I mean, it's pretty much as I walk through. If we need to change something, we talk about it and try to get a number up front, and it's got to be feasible and make sense, and then we make it happen. It's just a conversation as the process of the rehab is going on.
Yeah. Do you, Jay? How do you handle your change orders on your rehabs?
So we're all labor and material. We set the scope, we set the price, and so obviously when I send out the labor only number, obviously we try to do as good as we can in regards to the scope itself and understanding what it's going to be. We all know stuff pops up as we go. I mean, I have a full-time project manager that's on my jobs daily. So ultimately, if there's items outside the scope, she makes notes of that. She takes pictures of that item. If I'm not on my jobs every day. Honestly, if I'm on my house one time during the course of my remodel, it's about the most I'll ever see a house. So relative to that, it's we do a lot of video calls. We do tons of video calls of items that would associate what we would consider a problem or a change order, and then ultimately we set the price. We set the price of what that is, and I send out the new scope, and I set the labor price of what that is going to be based off my experience of what that item is going to be, and then they accept it or not, or we bicker back and forth. I mean, I don't use multiple crews, so I've been dealing with these guys so long. We've learned to bicker back and forth to a point to where we appreciate each other. They know that I'm always going to give them work, but we always try to figure it out. But we just have a system that's basically my system. Is there definitely is a change order process in place.
Now, what about you, Big Jim? Are you doing that too? Are you getting bids? Or are you just telling people, hey, this is a $4,000 labor house. Go ahead and get it done.
No, negotiated. It needs to be talked about up front, and like Jason kind of said, it's so important that you have those relationships with your contractors that we can talk about it and make sense. Because I've had contractors, they'll come up with a change order, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, I got a rule. Here's one of my rules for change orders. I do no verbal change orders.
No verbal.
And so no verbal. Like, I want my change orders in writing. I want them signed. I want pricing. I don't want anything. I mean, I'm so busy. I could be in a car, and I could be in another state, and you're calling me like that. Like, I don't do any verbal change orders. Everything has to be signed. Everything has to have a photo. And I usually cap change orders at maybe 5 to 10%, unless it's just something that's crazy, like a sewer that we couldn't see under the ground or something nuts like that. But for the most part, there shouldn't be too many change orders on stuff like that I can see, or that when we're walking through the house, I just really don't experience too much of that.
The key is to understand your numbers enough to where you give them a number and they're not giving it to you. Third-party vendors should be giving you a number, and you should be approving those. But your crews, you should be working to understand your numbers enough to where you're giving them a numbers and negotiating with them before they come back and negotiate with you.
I agree. And sometimes they tell me, Pat, your number's too low.
Exactly.
They can explain why. I'll bump it up. But 100%. Most times, like you said, a lot of the crews, if you can move them from one job to the next job, to the next job, to the next job, and they don't have to look for work, and you feed their families, they won't argue with you, and they'll just continue working as long as they get paid on Fridays. How do you guys pay? Do you guys pay every Friday? Do you pay every 2 weeks? How do you pay your crews, Jay?
I pay every Friday. And I mean, I'm labor only, so we pay off. So obviously all my guys have their 10 jobs or whatever it is, and they'll send out. Honestly, I scope mine at basically 4 payments based on an average of a 45-day rehab. Yeah. And so every Friday, obviously they send it to my PM and me, and we ultimately look at it. And if we feel the scope of work is completed according to the amount of labor being paid, it immediately goes to my bookkeeper, and she issues the check. Yeah. But, we keep a pulse check on the jobs ultimately from the perspective of understanding, okay, is it moving forward? Now, again, it's different for me. I think for the new guy that's going out to hire the app, they're getting bids from contractors. You don't have the trust associated to hundreds of finished jobs over your career. Where I've been with my guys, I mean, I could get behind or whatever on a job and overpay them in labor, but I know I've got 50 jobs behind it. And so for me, I don't get too worked up in that. I just want to keep my crew happy. As long as they're performing, then I'm good.
So for you, Jay, you're breaking down pretty much all your rehabs into 45-day sections. Yeah. And you might are you holding a certain percentage of the scope? Say the scope for easy numbers is $5,000. Do you hold 1,000 for the last payment, and then you break down the 4,000 within the next 3 weeks or 4? Is that kind of how?
110%.
Yeah, I see.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do too. So I hold like 20% for the last payment, and then I break down. I talk with my sub, and I ask him, is this going to take 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Yeah. He says 4 weeks. If I've got $4,000, I might break. If it's a $5,000 scope, I might hold 1,000 for the last week. That leaves me $4,000 to break bread with them, over the next 3 weeks, and I might parlay it out, over 3 weeks to $4,000 or whatever. And then we have milestones. When your scope, does it break down what they have to have done week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, final pay?
Man, we have not gotten to that point. I mean, my project manager's on the job all the time. So for us, we have a scope. We have, again, we talked about room by room. And obviously we have the different the third-party trades coming in, whether that be roof, HVAC, major electrical components, major plumbing components, underground plumbing, whatever it may be. And we would definitely, from that perspective, plan those accordingly based on how the rehab has to go in order for each thing to continue to move forward and not cause us delays through the remodel, and have that discussions up front with my primary crew and how we pull those individual trades into the job to keep the flow of the job moving forward based on the scope, me saying 45 or 60 days or whatever the job size is. But yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah. What about you, Jim? Like for me, I kind of like having milestones, or like, because then if I notice, like if I don't, sometimes they'll sit here and they'll do the painting, they'll do the cleaning, they'll do all the cheap stuff, and they say they're halfway done, but your kitchens and your bathrooms ain't done. And so, like for me, I like attacking, like week one, pretty much all the behind the wall stuff, or the underground, the basement stuff. So like your plumbing, your drains, your electric, your HVAC. Week two, I want to move to paint and kitchens and bathrooms.
Correct.
And try and get those knocked out, kind of where the money is in the scopes. What about you, Jim? What do you have, like a scope of work that's kind of broken down into weeks like that, or how you running yours?
Well, every Friday, I pay every Friday. And most of these guys in these crews that I deal with, they kind of know a general progression of work on a house. They know that there's certain things that you do first. And then every Thursday, Friday, we walk through a property and we kind of evaluate the percentage of work that's been done. But of course, we've already discussed how long this project should take. And on Thursday, Friday, we discussed the percentages there. And that's kind of what I pay on that. And, if we get to the end and I feel like they're kind of too far in, or if I've paid too much, of course, I hold out that final payment, whatever that might be. And of course, we never want them to get too far in front of us, because that's our leverage.
Oh, yeah.
Run off. So it's important that we evaluate that progression of work accurately on every week. So.
Yeah. You almost, for me, all my subs know, like, we're never going to be even money. Like, if you're 50% done, you might get 30% of the money. Like, we're never going to be at even money, but I'll always pay you when the job's done, but we're never going to be even money like that. Like, I don't even like being even, I should always be ahead in the money. And so that's a good tip for new people. Just because they say they're halfway done, you always got to stay ahead in the money. That's your only leverage that you have to have them come back. Because if you even money with them, or once they know, like, oh man, I got more work than money, and I call them to go do a job, they'll leave your job to go work for somebody else. That's just how these guys go.
You'll be over looking for them at another project.
What when you're walking through your houses, Jimmy, what do you look for daily, weekly? Are you visiting the properties? How many times a week are you going to the properties?
At least 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
On every project.
Yeah.
And like I say, I'm just looking for. We've got a scope, and they kind of know what items need to be done, and. If it's progressing in the right way and they're doing what they're supposed to do, it's pretty simple.
I got a tool I'm going to introduce you guys to. You guys might already be using it, but it's something I've been using. I'm going to introduce it here in a few. Hey, let's talk about hiring crews and spotting the game, the bullshit. And so this is a fun one. And so, like, what are some red flags for you guys, Jason, when you are meeting a new crew, when you're talking to somebody? What are the things you're looking for, what you're not looking for? Kind of give us some hints on, what you think, and how you spot a bullshitter.
Yeah, again, this is a tough one for me. I guess we could go back years. I've been with the same crew for over 10 years. I think I would want to talk to somebody that's utilized that crew, number one, and understand that basically they have the ability. I've been through crews over the years that will say they can do things. They get in, they get over their head. And obviously a big one is the quality. I mean, if I'm hiring a crew, I'm going to go walk a job they're doing or they have done. Yeah. And that was my motto when I got to the crews I'm at today. And, the success that I've had has been a result of quality and the ability to manage multiple jobs at the same time and have a crew that can manage multiple jobs at the same time. But I think that's where you can get off. And honestly, I've tripped and fell, and we all have. I mean, Jimmy, over the years, I'm sure with all the jobs he's done, we've all tripped and fell. Pat's tripped and fell in regards to crews. And ultimately, where you trip and fall is not really honing in on focusing on figuring out the bullshit. For me is the quality control and their ability. Like drywall is a big one, for example. I mean, you can have a crew that can say, "Oh, I can do anything." Well, anything is not drywall. Anything is not paint. Shooting a ceiling. I mean, I've had so many times over the years, I can do a ceiling. Half of the remodel crews you ever get in front of you can't do a ceiling correctly. And it ends up looking like a goddamn disaster and messes your entire remodel up. I mean, those are just pitfalls in understanding, as you understand your scope and dissecting your scope, is understanding, can the remodel crew that you're hiring or the people that are in front of you do the scope? Or do you have to break it down into multiple people, which obviously can get more expensive if you're third partying multiple people. Obviously, the success you'll have is being able to control one crew and then focusing on understanding and your third parties, such as your HVAC, your electricians, and really getting those costs dialed in, because we all know those are the costs that blow your budget.
Yeah. What about you, Jim? What kind of red flags on crews? How you spot a bullshitter?
Well, money up front when they don't need to be.
That's a good one. I've been there.
That's but I've kind of developed a crews on, I'm always looking for crews and guys who can do things. And referral is probably how I found most of my crews, and just watching. And when you do find somebody who is good and kind of know what they're doing, you got to pay them and you got to value them and let them know that. And try to hang on to those people.
Yeah, you got to kind of take care of them like family.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah. Well, over time, a good crew maybe doesn't come right away, but you can develop a good crew that knows what you want. And kind of like Jason was saying, that quality is so important that you're watching for that quality. And quality.
So like for me, another good tip is when you're driving around and you're looking at houses, or you're just driving around and you see people out there working, that's the best time to stop, because for one, it's unannounced and it's unexpected. You can see right there if they have a truck, if they have a van, if they can transport material. You can walk into the house and see the work. I remember looking at homes and stopping, and I might pick up 3-4 crews and a house all in one day, just by driving around and looking for people, and like, here's a red flag. If the guy tells you I can start tomorrow, shit, that's a problem for me. Yeah. Like, that means you ain't got no work or something's going on. And so, I watch out for that guy. Like you said, Jimmy, to pay me half up front. When you labor only, you don't need half up front. You got to work for a week and earn that money. People, when they say no permits are needed, when some permits are needed, that's a red flag. And so those are some red flags on how to spot some shady contractors, and then how to find some good contractors is really when you're just driving neighborhoods, when you're driving around, when you see people putting on a roof, stop and talk to them. Right. Talk to the manager, talk to the GC on the job, and get some information from them. You can see the quality, you can see everything they're doing. That's one of the best ways that I found some of my best crews, is through just driving around and meeting people. What about licensed versus unlicensed crews? I know, Jay, with you on the home builder side, You got to have probably workman's comp. You got to have all kinds of stuff. On the rehab side, though, Jay, are you using all licensed people, or are you using some unlicensed people?
So I'm a licensed general contractor. So I mean, anytime we have permit, I use my crews and I pull all. If we're working in a municipality, ultimately that requires permits, we're pulling our own permits.
Oh,
and my guys are working under me. Obviously, when it comes to full scopes in Kansas City, Missouri, associated to plumbing, electrical, you know, our third party trades are pulling permits off of my permit. But you know, anytime there's permit related items, I'm pulling on my own.
Yeah. What about? I mean, I know for me, I'm not using licensed guys unless they have to be licensed, like plumbing or HVAC
Correct.
or electric. If I need to put on a new electric panel, then I'm hiring the sub that can pull the permit. If if I need a licensed plumber to run a water line from the street to the house,
Yeah.
I'm using the right subs who can pull the permits for that. But like, if I'm putting in a disposal or changing out fans and light fixtures and painting and stuff like that, I'm not, really, the license doesn't mean anything to me on stuff like that. So I guess it's kind of hit and miss on certain things. For sure, the mechanicals and the big stuff, you're using the licensed people, but some of the interior cosmetic, I'm not. As long as they've been with me for a long time and I know they can do the work, I kind of look past that.
Absolutely.
Maybe I shouldn't.
Kind of like you, Pat, kind of as needed. I mean,
Yeah.
I've got guys. I've got a guy now that works for me, man. He's really good at electrical. But I do have a licensed electrician. If I've got some doubt, I'll have him come and look at his work. But this guy, he can do it, and it's kind of as needed. We don't want to be unsafe and get ourselves in trouble out there without having a permit. So you got to have access to those people that can pull the permits.
How do you know, Jimmy? I'll ask you this, and not you, Jay, because you got the same guys. But how do you know when it's time to fire a crew, to get rid of them?
Oh, the quality's bad. Not showing up for work. You can't give them enough monies. They need monies before payday, and quality of work. I mean, it's just, we got to have that quality, and they just got to show up for work every day.
Yeah, I know that. That's a big one for me. Like, if I walk in and I see the work is terrible, that's an automatic conversation that we're going to be ending the job. But the other big one is what you said, them not showing up. Like, if you're not on the job for 2 days, 3 days, we're going to have a conversation. And at that point, I'm setting a deadline or time frame. Like, dude, I need this house painted within the next 48 hours. If it ain't done, I'm hiring somebody else, and I'm using the rest of the funds that me and you spoke about to pay. And if there's anything left over, I'll pay you to spread. But I'm going to be leaving this situation if you're not done in the next. So like, I kind of give them like a small goal, like have the house painted or have the flooring done, or, have whatever it is that needs to get done, have it done, maybe a 48-hour time period. If it's done, I'll roll with them till next week. If it's not done, at that point, I'm canceling the relationship at that point. And that's just kind of how I've always walked away from crews or from people. Well, let's talk about vendors real quick.
Okay.
And vendor relationships and how important this is. And this is one reason why I do labor only bids.
Yeah.
I want to control the material. You want to control your material. When you control your material, you control the negotiating power that you have with Home Depot, with Lennox, with the roofing company, with whoever it is, Sherwin-Williams. If they know this guy's a $300,000 a year guy, your pricing is going to be better for paint than the guy down the road. If Home Depot knows you're going to sit here and spend, $1 million on material, they're not going to charge you the same price that they're going to charge somebody else who doesn't spend that kind of money. And so controlling that is super important. And talk about Jay, what you got in terms of contractor accounts, tiered pricing, cash sales, delivery schedules, the stuff, the benefits, I guess, that you might have from your vendor relationships.
I mean, I just think it's important, just simply the conversation that people can get out of this, the newer people that are on the call, is the labor versus material market. I mean, I think it's very easy when you get in the business to be a little bit nervous as that, because you don't understand what labor costs truly are, especially when it comes to looking at a 50 item scope. Is, you know, how do you understand what the labor versus the material is? And I mean, that's just years of experience, and Jimmy doing hundreds of remodels. You know, I can walk in and rip out, oh, I know a kitchen's going to cost me $7,000. Mm-hmm. You know, and how do you break that? How do you then back that into what that labor is versus material costs? And some of that's simply, like you said, going to Home Depot and understanding what the cost of your tile is, of your cabinets, of all those things. But from my perspective, I mean, I would say utilizing the vendors associated to you. So for me, obviously, you know, getting a good carpet, you know, carpet company essentially, or installation type carpet situation. Obviously, the Home Depot, you nailed it on the Home Depot vendor relationship. I mean, we have a huge Home Depot account. We meet with our Home Depot rep at least quarterly, and analyze opportunities from the back end of savings. I mean, we've done windows now through Home Depot. We've looked at carpet and all different angles of things, and we back end costs to them, because obviously they buy things at such a high level. If you truly do dissect your costs with Home Depot, you can't imagine the savings, let alone the percentage back. Obviously, as being a pro member, you know, there's those perks on the backside, you know, for us. But I mean, just capturing the material and only, and understanding your true cost. We've talked a lot about that. I mean, that's vital to your ability to manage your overall profit on these jobs, is backing in and focusing on your vendors and what your real ability to save money by doing that is super important. If that's the one thing people focus on in the beginning of learning how to rehab, is truly focusing on your vendor relationships and how to focus on how to save yourself money.
Yeah. And every store, like a Home Depot, a Lowe's, a Sherwin-Williams, every roofing company, every material supplier, Lennox, Goodman, HVAC suppliers, plumbing supply stores, all these places have inside sale guys. They have reps. And so whether you're big or small, going to these places and establishing those relationships while you're young and while you don't have 15 homes going at one time is smart. And these guys get paid commissions on what you buy. And so even if you're a small buyer right now, I would start those relations and reach out to Sherwin-Williams, reach out to Home Depot. You know, I know Mari has a program with Home Depot where you can get some cash back. There's a bunch of investment places, investment clubs where you can get cash back. The bid room, a lot of people don't even know about the bid room and what the bid room is. The bid room is Home Depot. And if you spend, I think it's $1,500 or $2,000 in material, you can ask them to send it to bid. And if you send it to bid, you might get 20% off just by doing it. But it has to be a bulk order. It can't be, you know, you're going in there buying 5 blinds.
Correct.
You gotta buy, I think it's $2,000.
We always have bid room open every single job.
Yeah.
100% of the time.
You gotta have bid. And so I make one big material order, and even if it's not $2,000, I'll throw a refrigerator in there. I'll throw a stove in there, whatever it is to make it $2,000, because I know I'm going to need a stove or I'm going to need a fridge coming up in one of these jobs within the next, 60 days, 90 days. And so even if my material list is $1,500, I'll just throw a fridge in there just because I know I'm going to need it just to get it over $2,000 and be able to run it through bid. So know what the bid room is. And Lowe's has this, Home Depot has this. These are just material buying secrets, I guess, that not a lot of people know about, especially when you're new and you're starting off. you have to kind of know this stuff. Is there anything any other secrets Jimmy, that you want to talk about?
You guys hit it right on the head, man. Going in and getting those relationships with those vendors. They even send sales reps out to help you and tell you about deals that's coming up on certain. And I'll go back to the beginning of this. Controlling that your vendors and your merchandise, you want to do that yourself, because you don't want those contractors taking that material they got from another job and upcharging you for it. And even sometimes if they go to the store and buy it, they're going to upcharge it on your bill. So you want to control your own material. That is so important. And like you say, the bid room, buying in bulk, guys. You might say it's micromanaging, but like you say, Pat, buying in bulk saves you so much money when you can buy in a bulk. But I go around to my job site sometime and I pick up extra material that didn't get used. I won't even tell you how much money I could make on a weekly basis picking up extra material. But just controlling that material is just so important.
Yeah.
And those relationships, I feel like I've been able to upgrade my quality of material. Of course, I'm always looking for quality in my labor, but also in my quality of material, because I have access to those bid rooms and I can get better material through those bid rooms.
Yeah, that is true. And that's something that a lot of people who are starting off, they have no clue and no idea. Let's talk about this, and we'll kind of wrap it up here pretty soon. But let's talk about the kitchen bath foundation secrets. All right. We all know that it's these three things that's going to make you or break you in a rehab and where you need to focus. So kitchen secrets. I think the kitchen is probably your biggest ROI when it comes to a house, making sure your kitchens are right and your kitchens are looking good. You got any tips or any tricks, Jason, on that?
Man, ultimately, you talked about the cosmetic crack and structural problem. That obviously from that perspective, as you're starting, that is I can't tell you the thousands, hundred thousands of dollars I've lost over the years in not dissecting up front the structural aspects. You get excited about a deal. It's very exciting to understand and get excited about real estate, get excited about a deal, but really take the time to look at the cosmetic versus the structural aspects of a house. That's super, super important. Number one, probably some of the biggest money lost in this business I've seen people make and that I've made personally. But ultimately, obviously,
you're talking foundations.
Yeah, foundation, because you have cosmetic crack, structural problems.
Right.
But when it comes to kitchens and baths and stuff, obviously, yes, kitchens. That perspective, there's no better place to spend money. We always look at kitchens and baths as number one areas you're going to spend money on. Obviously, when somebody walks in the front door, the glitz and glam of doing a unique wall or something that somebody pops somebody's eye, I think is crucial as well. But once somebody gets in that kitchen, if there's new cabinets and new countertops and nice backsplashes and ultimately clean, amazing bathrooms, we all know that's what sells houses. Yeah.
That soft close gives you that luxury feeling, but it's actually not even that expensive. So
yes.
Like you can do that kitchen cabinet from Home Depot that's super cheap, but if you just upgrade a little bit to the soft close, that alone just makes people feel, it makes it feel luxury, and it's not even that expensive. But I do agree with you. Let's talk about these foundations just for the people out there that kind of don't know what they're doing. When you're looking at foundations, the first thing I do when I go to any house, I walk straight to the basement. If it doesn't pass the basement test, I walk out the house. I'm in and out of a house sometimes in 5 minutes. If I go down there and I see horizontal cracks, so cracks that go left to right, I'm out. I don't want to deal with that on a flip, and I definitely don't want to deal with that on a buy and hold. And so for me, that is a red line that I really don't. I don't want to put beams. I don't want to have to disclose. I don't want to have to sell for less. I don't want to have to peer. And at the end of the day, you've got a house that has a stigma. What's going to make people move on that stigma is price action. Why would they buy your house for $100,000 with basement cracks when they can go down the road and buy that house with no cracks for the same price? So the way you're going to move that house is by selling that house for $70,000, $75,000. And so I just don't want to deal with it. Especially I'm a big buy and hold guy, and I don't want that in my portfolio with leaking water and just cracks in the basement. And so up and down cracks, like off of a window, maybe something that goes up and down. I can epoxy those and I can fix those, and those aren't that bad. But it's the horizontal V's, it's the horizontal cracks, it's the ones that they go down and up and down and just all on one wall and the walls falling in. That kind of stuff, that could cost you more than the entire rehab alone.
100%.
You know what I mean? And so
100%.
you're completely right on the structural. What about you, Jimmy? You got any secrets on bathrooms?
I want to back you up on the foundation. 100%, Pat. I agree with you on that. But bathrooms, you mean as far as remodeling? And you always want to keep that bathroom as updated as possible. You know, the nice tile. I believe in doing it all in the bathroom. You know, the vanities, the mirrors, light fixtures. The ladies like those nice bathrooms. They like the nice.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. So that can sell a house, but
the kitchens and the bathrooms.
I want to drop a little note on you, Pat. That this is maybe just a little personal thing for me. Is sometimes when I go into a house and I hear comments all the time when people walk in these houses, they look at the floors and they say, "I like those floors." Yeah. You know, women like kitchens and bathrooms, but I think, just me personally, I think the floors should get a little more attention too.
Are you doing a lot of carpet? You doing a lot of tile or LVP?
No, I like a lot of hardwood floors, RVP, things like that. People don't seem to like a lot of carpet, but I've put them in rooms and things and stairs.
I haven't done carpet. I've pretty much removed all the carpet. Anytime I have carpet, it's the worst thing for rentals. You always have to replace. It's super expensive. I've just moved everything in my rentals and my properties to LVP. And unless it has hardwoods, then I'll refinish it. But if it doesn't, I'm throwing in LVP. I'm not doing any tile. I'm not doing any carpet. I just do the LVP when it comes to, the flooring. And the other thing is cleanliness. Having a good cleaning lady at the end to come in and make sure that everything's clean when you're done is super important. Check this out. I'm going to show my screen real quick and show you guys this new tool that I found. Have you guys heard of Company Cam?
No.
UJ?
I have not.
Check this out, man. All right. Let me show you guys Company Cam real quick. So this is a software that you guys need to check out, and it's an AI location type software. So here's a house on, can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
So here's a house I got on North London up north. It's a duplex, and I get the picture of the house, and so I just bought this house, and we can go back from the day I bought it, Thursday, October 23rd. There's a deep picture file. Oh wait, it's still going. So you can see all the befores, you can see all the afters, you can see exactly everything here. I can make my subs as collaborators on this software so that they can take pictures at the end of every day, and they can show me that they've been there. They can show me exactly what they've done at the end of every day. So it just comes, it's a big picture file where you can see AB. These are all subs that are taking pictures of what they've done. RB, all subs of what they're doing over there. And so this is a way that I can not only I have a big picture file, I can manage the job, and my subs can ask me questions. And it's super easy to bring up a picture like this, and then you can just draw on it. Where you can check it out. You can say do you want me to remove this? And you can just put a circle there. You can put arrows, Do you want this? Do you want me to change out this dryer filter or this dryer cover? What do you want? You know, you can just, there's so much things that they can send me and ask me questions, and I can answer questions. You can do video on this software, and the best thing is you can even do your scopes. So check out the scopes. So right here is a site cleanup scope that I did, and it even takes pictures. So now I can do like garage cleanup, start cleaning out the garage, address the miscellaneous stuff, or that it's telling me what to do. And this is all ran by AI. So from my cell phone, I'm talking into my phone. All the words that you see, I'm talking that into the phone while I'm taking pictures, and it puts it in one big scope of work.
Nice.
And I do this to my clean out crew. So,
Wow.
and then it puts the pictures in the picture file. And then if they have any questions, they can take these pictures straight from their phone, click on it, and say, Pat, do you want this? Like right here, they can click on this, and they can draw right on this thing and say, Pat, do you want this microwave, or do you want me to toss it? And so it's a really clean system. And then I have my big scope. So it has everything in here: yard and exterior work, exterior repairs and cleaning. And it has all the pictures of
Did AI prepare that?
And AI, yeah. And so it's super cool, man. You can watch, and it's cheap as hell, Jay. It's like, it's nothing for this. And you can have, I think with the regular membership, you can have up to 4 users. And then if you need more, Jay, you can have, or Jimmy, you can have more. But you can make people collaborators. So for me, it's like me, my office lady, my inspector, and who's the last one? There's one more person that has a license, and then everybody else is collaborators. So every job I assign to Roy, or I assign to Kevin, or whoever the sub might be, they have collaboration rights where they can upload photos. And so it's a great management tool. It's super slick when it comes to the pages. You have documents you can upload in there. If you have insurance, workman's comp, any sort of document that you know, your hazard insurance, your whatever, you can, you know, the subs insurance, you can upload documents in here. You can even do payments through here. I haven't set up payments because I use QuickBooks, but if you got Stripe or you got something like that, you can set up your whole payment system through here. It has checklists where you can take the documents. So you can take the scope that I just showed you, and now I put it into a document, into a checklist. So now my inspector has a checklist that he can go through, and right from his phone, he can just click, yes, that's done, and take a picture of it. He can locate the keys in the garage door and the flower pot and say, yes, that's done, and take pictures of it. So it's super clean, I love this thing. This is like one of the best new tools that I found and that I've been using. And so I think this is something that you guys would benefit from, and you guys would like. And maybe you can introduce that into your guys's. That way you're not sitting here using Google Photos and using, Google Sheets. And you know what I mean? You got a software that kind of has everything in there for you. Really clean system. I've got the QR code that we can put up on the screen for that, Annie. That QR code will be coming up here shortly. And hold on. And awesome, guys. What an awesome show. I want to thank you, Jimmy and Jason, for spending an hour, 20 minutes with us, breaking things down. I know you guys got families and you guys are busy, but just kind of giving back and helping people out and talking about a subject that most people, just get burnt on all the time. And probably the biggest reason people don't want to get into real estate and are afraid is because of renovations, rehab, crews, negotiating crews, stuff like that. So awesome that we've got to talk about this. We'll get the QR codes up for the sponsors we'll put a bow on this and recap it. Some of the nuggets that I've got out of tonight really was talking about the structures and the foundations. That was a big thing. Well, I don't know about you, Jimmy, and what was your biggest takeaway from tonight, or something maybe even you might have learned?
Well, your new tool is pretty
Yeah.
interesting to me. All of it, Jason, how you kind of manage your new construction, that's interesting. And Pat, you're always just sharp and on top of things, man. You've been a light for me through this whole rehab process for many years. So all your advices are good, man. So.
Yeah.
What about you, Jay? What you got?
I mean, overall, again, like, I mean, just little things like the company cam. And I obviously, you wanted the back talk. I said that, I mean, obviously, I feel like I can always have better systems in place. I mean, obviously, I'm managing the aspects of, I said 90% of my time is spent on new construction. With the amount we do on that side, it takes a lot more time invested to do that than it does on the remodel side with all the years I've been spending doing remodels. So, you know, the 10% of time I spend on that, obviously, you know, I feel like we do a good job, but we can always do better. And so it's always fun to see the impact of certain things, like, for example, a company cam or something, nuggets that somebody's doing differently to, you know, obviously make their business better.
Yeah. You can even invite your customer,
Yeah.
Jace and Jimmy. So if you're rehabbing for somebody or you're building for somebody, you can invite them in on company cam and they can see everything live. You don't even have to update them anymore.
Nice.
They got access and they can see. I mean, I don't know if you want that, but if you're open book, they can see it. They can see weekly photos. They can see the questions. They can see the videos. So I've got my subs sending me stuff in there all the time. It's just a real clean system. But hey, remember this now. You've got United Real Estate paying 100% to the agents. Real Buy Box is a good software to help you underwrite. If you're new to underwriting properties, pulling comps, stuff like that, Real Buy Box is another good software that I use. If you're interested in investing in Kansas City and you want to come in, you can reach out to myself. You can reach out to Jimmy. You can reach out to Jason. He probably won't work with you. He's too busy. but you can reach out to us. We've got this mentorship program for new people online. We've got an online Facebook group. If you guys are interested in that, super cheap. I made it super affordable. There's no way you can there's no way you can pass it up. I mean, it's so cheap, and the knowledge you'll get from that and the access that you'll get from that is undeniable. So you have to take a look at that. Man, we emptied out the clip today. We threw out a lot of stuff out there, man. If you watch this back, I guarantee you, if you didn't find 3 or 4 good nuggets or 3 or 4 good things that you didn't know, I know a lot of people out there didn't know shit about Bidroom, didn't know anything about that. I know that for sure. And so that was another good nugget that we threw out there. Good interview. If you listened and you took some nuggets from each person on the show, you should have a playbook. You should know you should have something going into your next rehab that you're going to use, that you're going to do, how you're going to do your scope, company cam, Real Buy Box. There's a bunch of stuff you guys can use. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Next month, our show is going to be about property management. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be talking about property management. That's going to be December 9th at 7 p.m. And I'm going to have a real special guest on that show, and probably the most beautiful guest I would ever have on the show. Even better than you guys.
I bet.
but I'm gonna do this show with my wife.
Yeah.
She's ran our property management for 25 years. I don't think anybody's better than managing properties and really back office and systems and processes and paperwork and software and just everything you need to know. So we'll be talking about property management on episode 4. Jason, Jimmy, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming on, dude. Thank you.
Hey, buddy.
I really appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for listening. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week.
All right.
or next month. Sorry.
Thanks for the invite.
All right, guys, take it easy.
Thank you, bud.